Hello, Howell High School AP Psychology students. This is Mr. Talberg. I just want to, now that we have some stuff in the Google Classroom, I just want to kind of walk you through how you will complete AP Psych this semester and prepare for the AP Psychology exam. Remember, you may take this course for credit only at this point, in which case you have a lot of flexibility. I'll come back to that at the end, but that is why I changed the gradebook today and put exempt for everything for everyone. So if you don't, for whatever reason, complete the class, you will default back to credit unless you are failing. And I don't know that that applies to too many people. So the way this will work is you're in AP Classroom, or excuse me, the Google Classroom, and I'm just using seventh period. They all should look pretty much the same. So I put in, you can see a few days ago, what I call the psychology roadmap. And there's a little description there, but I'm just going to click on this for you. This kind of describes how I'm going to approach the course with you. You can see here, all I've done is divided it up. I've given you a timeline. So this week, what I expect you to do is think about how you're going to prepare for an open note exam, since that's what you will get to take on the 19th of May. And then I'll ask you to review the beginning of the year. And then I just take you through. I'm organizing these units by week and content. And then the last week and a half before the AP exam, we're just going to wrap up some stuff and then get ready for the test. So this is an overall roadmap. The bottom just kind of describes for you what you will do in each one. I'll take you through the first post right now, so that'll make a little more sense. And notice there is no new work. So all I'm asking that you do is review what we learned this year and practice doing FRQs. That's pretty much how you will complete the class. And basically it's a completion grade. Again, I'll come back to that in just a moment here. So you'll find that in the Google Classroom, as I just mentioned. You will also find a year in review. So what I did was I borrowed someone else's printed crash course outline, and then I kind of made it our own. I edited it, I cross-referenced the guidelines and things. There'll still be things to add, but this is a really good starting point. And so that is in there as well. And so basically what I'm going to ask you to do instead of an exam this year is just prepare some notes for the AP Psych exam. So my recommendation would be that you take this outline that I've made for you and turn it into your own. So what I'm going to suggest you do is use the format we used all year for vocab. So go into structuralism, rate it, do you understand it or not, and then make a connection. And do that through this entire list. That is a lot to do, but remember you have 4 weeks to do this, and really this is your primary task at this point in the year. You may want to add things, names that you see in the reviews that you'll read or watch, but that's what I suggest. If you prefer to have notes prepared in a different format or style or use your existing class notes, you may do that and still get credit. So this is for those of you who maybe are struggling to organize or know what to study. I've put this together, but if you feel like you have a plan on your own for how to construct your own notes, you are welcome to do that. You will just turn those notes in instead of what you've done with this outline. So that is in there right where I showed you, and I just reminded you how we've done vocab all year. And again, basically you could just take this approach, especially this stuff here, and apply that to the outline that I've also posted in the Google Classroom. All right. And then so what each week will look like. Now, as you saw, I am going to pace you, but the fact is, in most ways, this is a self-paced course. So even though I put this is the week of 416, if you complete this in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you will still get credit. So I'm using the dates to help you pace yourself and not be overwhelmed, but you may get sick, you may have family members you have to attend to, you may have other priorities. So there is a lot of flexibility in when you do these things. But if you want a grade in the class, you must do them. You still may take the AP exam without doing these things, but if you don't review, it will show up in your score. So this is what I'll do each week. So I'll probably do it Friday. so there'll be some overlap, but this kind of tells you what to expect, so what I call the roadmap. So you can see here, you're going to do two things this week: how to prepare for an open note exam, and then review the scientific foundations of psychology. I organize that into an exploration. So the exploration one is you must read the tips for success on open note exams. That is linked right here. So you'll just click on that link, read through there, and that's it. Then I ask that you watch relevant crash courses or AP review videos, or um, if you have an AP prep book, you could read that. I don't need you to do all these things. Okay, so the point here is you have some options. You will make some decisions. You will study whichever format works best for you. My recommendation would be to use the AP review videos that they've been making, because those are AP people telling you what you should know on the AP exam. But you may not have the time to watch those, in which case you might watch crash courses, or you might like reading things better with practice questions and stuff. Remember, you don't have to do multiple choice practice because there will not be multiple choice questions on the test. So I know how that link works for me as a teacher. I gave you the same link I had. That's the one down here. Basically, McGraw-Hill has given you free access to their prep book called 5 Steps to a 5, and you would have access to any AP class you're taking. So if you can't figure out how to make that link work, you're probably gonna have to Google it, because I only have my teacher version. So that's it. I'm just asking you to review stuff. What I would recommend you do is, as you're reviewing, work on those notes, right? So work on editing that outline or editing your personal notes. But the point is, you're reviewing so that you are ready for the exam in a couple of weeks. And then for us, each week we'll be practicing FRQs. So what I did is, in your AP classroom, so notice this is not the Google Classroom, it's the AP classroom, I opened up or unlocked Unit 1 Progress Check FRQ. There are 2 questions there. You're welcome to do those. I'm only asking at this point you do question 1. And one thing about those are really designed for you to get input on your own terms. So if you go into that question, so when you find the question, it's right here, and like I said, there are 2. So you're welcome to do those. This is a very representative example of what you should expect to see on the 19th. I may have actually showed you this one before too. So you just read the scenario. They've been incorporating some data so that you have to practice or demonstrate the skill of interpreting charts and graphs. And then the question is down here. So you've got part A, part B, and 3 terms. And then you can actually enter that reply or response right here. For these, you also have the rubric. So if you click on that on the right, you can see there, they give you guidelines. So for example, part A1, they're telling you, here's how you should have answered part A1. So part A, first term. All right. So you can kind of go point by point. You can use these. You can look at these before if you're not sure exactly what it's asking. You can write a response and look at these after. And then I'm not going to do this first week, but as we get closer and I have a better sense of how many of these I'm going to be looking at, I can actually give you feedback. So I can tell you, look, your response was a 0, so you didn't get that point, or you got that point. And that is how the AP grading works. So please work on these. And then so what you'll do after that, so these are the videos. So these are the 2 crash courses. These are all the videos they've put out, the AP people. This is that 5 steps to a 5. But when you're done with all that stuff, all you do is you click on the evaluation. You put your name in, and then you just tell me, I read the tips, I watched the stuff, I did the FRQ, submit, and done. And in general, that will lead to you getting credit. Now, I can't check to see if you actually did this stuff. I can't check to see if you did that. So remember, this is where the responsibility lies with you. This first week, like I said, I'm probably not going to give you much feedback on those FRQs. I can check to see if you did those. And as we move along and get closer, we'll be doing those a little bit more seriously. I'll probably ask you to do Google Docs so I can give you better line-by-line feedback rather than just giving you credit or no credit for your response. So that's it. So when you look at the grade book, I put a grade, I called it like week of 416 or week 1. And then once you submit um, this form, I'll basically go and say, all right, you're done with that unit. If any units you don't do, you won't get credit for, in which case you'd probably just default back to credit for the class instead of a grade. So if that's confusing, send me an email and I'll try and make sense of it. But and I can't open the grade book from this because I couldn't figure out a way to not show student names. So that's what the units will look like. Each week I will give you different stuff to review, but the same format. So you'll review some stuff, you'll practice an FRQ, and then you'll just verify that you've done those things on an evaluation form. And like I said, as we get further along, we'll be doing more of the sharing. So I'll ask you to read someone else's FRQ and reply what you think, or maybe even grade them. And I probably won't use student reviews or examples from our class. I can get those online from old AP responses. I think that takes you through how class will look. It's going to be that simple. If you do this, you will be ready for the AP exam. In fact, I'm actually thinking you might be more ready for the AP exam this year than some of my other years, just because we're going to spend so much time doing nothing but reviewing. So if you have questions that are specific to you or just general, please email me and I'll do my best to reply and make this work for everyone. But hopefully this makes sense and you feel confident that you will have the resources you need to do well on the AP exam on Tuesday, May the 19th. I look forward to connecting with you, however we do that. And stay healthy. And if you're not feeling that great at some point, remember you want to prioritize your family and your health first, and AP Psychology further down the line.